And I do want to begin by first thanking everybody for coming out this morning. It's an incredible show of support, not just for one part of our county government, but for the essential services that are provided throughout county government. I would also be remiss if I didn't mention the amazing staff that works for the county. I've only been here for 7 months, and I have come to know that the people that we have working for the county are truly good people that are well-intentioned, that come to work every day, who are asked to do a lot with a little, and whatever small amount of success any of the elected officials can claim here in Mason County, I would imagine to a person they would all say it's due in large part to the staff that works for them. And so my many thanks to everybody that come to work for Mason County every day. I know these past few weeks have been very difficult. It's been difficult for the people of Mason County, the people that live here, that call it home. It's been very difficult for the staff of Mason County that come to work every day. And it's been very difficult for all the elected officials and department heads who we've asked to dig deep and make cuts that are very challenging, especially at this late day in the year. And so I'm grateful for everybody's efforts over these past few weeks. There's going to be a long conversation, I think, in this county for a lot of time to determine how exactly we ended up in this position. They're the right questions to ask because I hope that at the core of those questions are how do we avoid repeating history. And so we can sit around and we can talk about whose fault it is and how we ended up here, but there simply is not the time. We need to be solutions oriented and focused on what we do from here. When we looked at all of these issues in front of us, I looked at them first as a taxpayer and a voter, and it's a very disappointing situation that we find ourselves in. And I know that that's a sentiment shared by a lot of people, and I've heard from so many people in this past week that share that disappointment and that share that frustration. And I can tell you that we're here and we're ready to work to fix it. I think as we look for these solutions, we have to recognize that we face serious long-term budget issues if we do nothing. And to that end, I've come forward with a proposal to move to a 2-year budget that is in the works, and I appreciate the support that I've received from my fellow commissioners on that. It is a big course change for Mason County to move to a different way of thinking when it comes to the budget and to expand out that timeline that we look at when it comes to funding the programs and services that we offer in Mason County. Further, I'm encouraging the Commission to have a discussion about adopting a balanced budget resolution. This would basically say that we don't spend more than we take in, that we respect what a reserve and emergency funding is for, and that we have a serious conversation within that about how we fund the services and programs that we provide in Mason County. There's a lot of talk about what the priorities of the Commission is, where the county is heading, and I can tell you right now that the days of reserve fund balance being used to supplement ongoing expenses are done. We simply can't manage that way anymore. And so to that end, I encourage the Commission to come together and have a conversation about the revenue that we collect, how much of it we collect, how much the people in this county are willing to pay for the services that we are mandated in many cases to provide, and that we have that conversation centered around fiscal responsibility and living within our means. Finally, no one is going to walk out of this room a winner today. But that's not the end of this story. The decisions before us are difficult, that's why we're here, and I hope that's why we chose to run for the positions that we ran for, because we wanted to make the hard decisions, because we wanted to have an impact on the future of our county. And I hope we take this as an opportunity to regroup and reevaluate our role, each of our roles, in strengthening Mason County's future. And I hope we can find enough goodwill as we walk out of this room today to begin the 2018 budget process in earnest. Because I think we have to begin that process from a position of good faith and without assuming bad intent about everybody's motives and how we got here and where we plan to go from here. So with that, that's a long way of saying that I intend to not vote in support of the motion brought forward to us today. And I say that because I would prefer to accept the proposals that were brought forward by the various offices and departments, fully recognizing, once again, that some departments were able to bear the full burden and others were not. And oftentimes, it appears in government that we punish the people who do the things the right way. Unfortunately, when you make cuts in the middle of July, very late in a budget year, sometimes you have to be willing to compromise and accept what people bring forward with the hope that we can enact other reforms and have other conversations about how we budget and finance for Mason County's future. And so my call to everybody here today is, when we go through this vote, that we use this as an opportunity to move forward together in a more productive way, and that we work collaboratively to focus on 2018 and beyond. And so with that, I will end my comments, and I appreciate everybody being so patient as we work through this process today. And I hope that this is not the end of the conversation, rather this is the beginning of a new one.